Welcome back to the Dentist Marketing Media Podcast. Okay, the show where we help dentists grow, dominate their local markets, and build practices that run like a true business. So today's episode is called The New Patient Engine, where we're going to be breaking down how dentists can build a predictable, consistent flow of high-value patients, not just general dentistry, cleanings, emergencies, and things of that nature, right? So if you have ever felt like patient flow is unpredictable or you're consistently relying on word of mouth, then this episode will change how you think about marketing, operations, and conversion. So let's dive right in. So let's start with the basics, okay? High value patients. What are we talking about here? We're talking about implants, Invisalign, cosmetic dentistry, full mouth rehab. Those type of services don't just magically show up. They all start with their journey online. And more specifically, they start on Google. Okay. These aren't patients simply asking, hey, do you take my insurance? Right. These are patients actively searching for things like implant dentist near me, best Invisalign dentist in Miami, cosmetic dentist before and after. And here's the important part. These searches come with intent. These people aren't just browsing. They're deciding. Okay? So they're just trying to see where they're going to park their money. So that's why predictable patient flow doesn't come from hoping referrals trickle in consistently. It comes from being visible where high intent patients are already looking for your services. Okay, so the three channels that drive predictable volume for this. There are three core channels that consistently drive high value cases if done right. We're not talking about 10. We're not talking about 20. We're talking about just three. All right. The first one, paid ads. The fastest path to a booked consultation. Okay, so let's talk about paid ads first, simply because it's the fastest lever. So Google Ads allows you to show up in the exact moment someone is searching for what you offer. So think about that. Someone types dental implants near me, and your practice appears at the very top of that page. Okay, that's not branding. That's demand capture. This is why paid ads are often the quickest way to fill consult calendars, launch a new service, smooth out slow months, or create immediate momentum for your practice. Now, the mistake that we see all the time is dentists running ads that send people to a generic homepage. That absolutely does not work. High value patients are a little different. What they need is a specific message, a specific offer, and a clear next step. Paid ads work best when they send traffic to intent matched landing pages designed for consultations, not cleanings. Okay? Now, channel number 2, SEO and local search. This needs to be your long-term foundation. Okay? SEO and local search is the long game, but it's the most defensible asset you can build. When your practice ranks organically for, say, things of like implant dentist in Los Angeles, all on 4 dentists near me, Invisalign providers in Atlanta, you're showing up without paying per click. That's extremely powerful. Local SEO in particular, and by local SEO, we're talking about your Google business profile. Reviews, proximity authority plays a massive role in local SEO. Okay. And this plays a huge role in trust, click-through rate, and patient confidence before they ever call. All right. So when thinking about this, we got to do a little bit of a mindset shift, right? One, paid ads. Paid ads give you speed. SEO gives you stability. The practices that scale sustainably do both. They don't pick one and ignore the other. Keep that in mind. Now, the third channel, short form videos. Okay. With these, we build trust and authority at scale. Now, this third channel is the one probably that most dentists underestimate, right? Short form videos, and no, this is not about dancing on TikTok or becoming an influencer. Short form video is about trust acceleration. When a patient sees your face, hears your voice, the confidence in explaining procedures, simply your case philosophy, they feel like they already know you. This changes everything. So by the time they click your ad, visit your website, and they book a consultation with your practice, they're already pre-sold on you. So video bridges that trust gap that used to take years of referrals to build, right? And the best part, one good video can be used across multiple platforms. We're talking about Google Ads, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, your website, just to name a few, right? So the big idea here, the visibility is where decisions are made. Okay, so here's the core takeaway for part one. High value patients don't need convincing. They need visibility. If you're not showing up on Google in local search with trust building content, then someone else is getting those cases. Predictable growth isn't about luck. It's about being present where high intent decisions are being made. Okay. And once you control that visibility, everything downstream, the leads, consultations, case acceptance, simply becomes easier. All right. So now, here's the problem. Just because someone finds you doesn't mean they're the right patient, which brings us to part two, pre-qualification and how to filter out tire kickers and focus our attention on serious buyers only, right? This is probably the step where most dental practices skip. And honestly, it's the reason a lot of dentists say ads don't work. We get leads, but they don't show up. Consults are a waste of time. It's not a traffic problem. It's a pre-qualification problem. I'll say that again for the ones in the back. It's not a traffic problem. It's a pre-qualification problem. Okay? A predictable new patient engine doesn't treat every lead the same. It filters before the consultation ever happens. All right? So let's get into that, right? Why pre-qualification matters. When you don't pre-qualify, here's what tends to happen. Your front desk are going to be chasing leads that were never serious in the first place. As your doctors are going to be walking into consults blind. And the case acceptance becomes emotional instead of intentional. And what results from this is that marketing feels expensive instead of profitable. So good pre-qualification flips that. It ensures that by the time someone books a consultation, that they understand the service, that they know it's an investment, and they're mentally ready and prepared to move forward. That's the difference between lead volume and lead quality. Okay? So the tools that you can use that do the filtering for you, There are a couple. So these tools these tools for pre-qualification are not complicated. In fact, it's the simpler it is, the better they work. So common tools that you can use are short quizzes, smart intake forms, pre-consultation surveys, right? So these simple tools here serve three purposes. Purpose one, filter out unqualified leads. Not everyone is ready for implants or Invisalign, and that's okay. But your system should identify people looking for the cheapest option, patients who only want insurance-driven care, shoppers who aren't ready to invest. Pre-qualification saves your team time and energy by filtering those out automatically, right? Purpose two, what does it do? It identifies serious buyers early. So serious buyers don't mind answering and reminds a few thoughtful questions. In fact, most serious buyers will actually expect it. So exact opposite. And it could be simple questions like, what problem are you trying to solve? How long have you been considering this? Are you exploring financing options? These questions don't scare away ideal patients. They actually attract them. Because serious buyers want clarity. They want structure, right? And the third purpose is that it allows to understand the patient's needs before the consult. This is where things really change. So imagine walking into a consultation already knowing why the patient reached out, what they're unhappy with, what outcome they want, their level of urgency. Now the consult becomes more of a conversation instead of a pitch, right? So that alone increases things and major factors like trust, efficiency, and case acceptance, right? So it's important to do. It shows really the power of one simple question. Like for example, here's a small but powerful example of a single financing question that you could do. Something like, are you open to monthly payment options if needed? That one question right there does a few things. One, sets expectations. Two, removes sticker shock. Three, it increases show-up rates. Four, increases and improves case acceptance. Why? Why does it do this? Because patients who answer yes have already mentally committed to a solution. So they're not surprised when numbers are discussed, right? So the big idea here is that, and the mindset shift needs to be that consults are earned, not just given. Consultations shouldn't be handed out to everyone who fills out a form. They should be earned through intent and readiness. So when you pre-qualify, marketing becomes more efficient, teams become less stressed, doctors see better cases, revenue becomes more predictable. And once you have the right people booking consults, the next step becomes critical. Because even the best pre-qualified lead can go cold if you don't act fast, right? So, in part 3, we'll break down conversion and follow-up. Conversion and follow-up, and really why the first 5 minutes after a lead comes in can make or break your entire system. Now, so let's talk about conversion. Because this is where most dental marketing doesn't just underperform, it completely breaks down. And here's a hard truth. Most practices don't have a lead problem. They have a speed and follow-up problem. The first 5 minutes are everything. The first 5 minutes after lead comes in are key critical. Not 5 hours, not tomorrow morning. 5 minutes. Why? Because that patient is still on the phone, still researching, still emotionally engaged, right? And still comparing options. So if you wait too long, you don't just lose momentum, you lose the patient. Studies consistently show that contacting a lead within the first few minutes increases conversion rates dramatically. And yet, most dental offices let the lead sit, wait until the front desk is less busy, call once, then move on. That's how thousands of dollars leak out of your marketing every month. What we got to do? Text first, then call. That's what works best. Text first, then call. Texting feels non-invasive, right? Gets opened almost immediately. And simply just starts a conversation instead of a confrontation, right? So a simple text that says, "Hi, this is Peter from Osley Dental. You just reached out about a dental implants. Is now a good time to talk?" That one message does more than most voicemails ever will. Once they respond, then you call. Now you're not a stranger. You're a human follow-up. All right. Now, on the follow-up, you need to have a script. So you need a script so that you don't become robotic, right? And this is where a lot of teams push back. We don't want to sound scripted. And here's a reality. A script doesn't make you robotic. It makes you consistent. Without a script, every team member says something different. Objections are handled emotionally. Confidence drops. Conversions drop. So a good script ensures the same tone, the same expectations, the same next steps. It's not about memorizing lines. It's about guiding the conversation. Okay? Remember that. So, after that, an automated follow-up for 72 hours. Here's another big mistake that many dental practices make. They follow up once or twice, then they stop. But most patients don't book on the first touch. So a predictable system uses automated follow-up for at least 72 hours. These include text reminders, gentle check-ins, value-based messages, appointment confirmations, things of that nature. So automations doesn't replace your team now. It supports them. And so it ensures that no lead slips through the cracks. It also makes sure that every opportunity is maximized. And it also makes sure that the response time stays fast, even if and when the office is busy, right? So the money left on the table. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most offices are sitting on missed calls, unreturned forms, unfollowed leads. And those aren't just names. Those are cases, right? Implants. Each one of those names is an implant. There's a possible Invisalign, a cosmetic treatment. All of those are lost because no one followed up properly, right? So marketing doesn't fail when leads don't come in. It fails when systems don't respond. All right. So the big idea here, and what we're talking about, is that speed and consistency together wins, right? If you want predictable results, respond fast. Text first, call second, follow up consistently, remove guesswork with scripts. Do that, and your conversion rate changes immediately. But even when leads convert, there's still one more moment that matters most, right? Because everything leads to the consultation at the end of the day. And let's be real, the consultation is the moment of truth, right? So, which leads us into part 4, which is we're going to break down case acceptance and how to structure consultations so patients confidently say yes. That is it. The consultation is the moment of truth, right? Everything that you've done up to this point, the ads, the SEO, the pre-qualification, the fast follow-up, it all leads right here. And this is where most practices still struggle, because case acceptance isn't just about what you say. It's about what you show. All right? Words alone aren't enough anymore, right? So, and why words alone aren't enough anymore? It's just that dentistry has changed. In general, patients don't want to be sold. Nobody wants to be sold. They want to understand if a patient need implants. This will improve the function, that this is the best option. But they can't see it, so they hesitate, right? High-value cases requires visual certainty. So what high-value patients need to see is predictable case acceptance comes from a repeatable presentation process that includes visuals and clarity. Here's what that looks like. Smile previews and mock-ups. When a patient can see a smile simulation, a before and after mock-up, a digital preview of the outcome, it shifts the conversation from price to possibility. They're no longer imagining the result. They're reacting to it emotionally. That's huge and that's powerful. So, you have to be clear. Step-by-step treatment plans. Complex treatment creates confusion. Confusion kills case acceptance. A predictable system breaks treatment down into clear phases, simple steps, logical progressions. So instead of this is long, complicated process, it becomes step 1, step 2, step 3. All right? Clarity builds confidence. The next part of that needs to be financing options presented up front. This is another key critical mistake practices make. They wait too long to talk about money. High-value patients don't expect treatment to be cheap, but they do expect options, right? So when you show monthly payment ranges, financing pathways, what's possible instead of what's overwhelming, you remove that fear from the equation. So the money becomes a logistic discussion, not an emotional roadblock. Okay? So predictability comes from process, not personality. So here's the key idea. Case acceptance should not depend on the mood of the day, which team member is presenting, how busy the schedule is. A predictable engine requires a predictable case presentation process. Same flow, same visuals, same structure. That's how confidence increases, objections decrease, yeses become easier. All right? Because at the end of the day, the real goal is of the consultation. The goal of the consult is not to convince. It's to help the patient see themselves on the other side of the treatment. When they see it, understand it, and believe it's achievable, saying yes just feels natural, right? So, but even through all that, here's what most practices still forget. The engine doesn't stop after the case is accepted, because the most profitable patients are the ones you already have. That's where retention and reactivation comes in. So if you want a predictable new patient engine, you need predictable retention. This is where most practices leave an unbelievable amount of money on the table. Because every dentist listening to this has cosmetic leads that never finished treatment, implant patients who delayed phase 2, Invisalign consults that said, we need to think about it. Those patients didn't say no. They just said not yet. So why retention is easier than acquisition? Why? Here's the reality. It's far easier to re-engage an existing patient than it is a new one. The follow-up is a warm lead, not a cold one. And to continue a conversation that you've already started is easier than to start from scratch. So than it is to constantly chase brand new people, retention is where predictability compounds. The next part is reactivation sequences, turning not yet into yeses, right? So a predictable practice doesn't rely on memory or sticky notes. It uses reactivation sequences. These can include follow-up emails, educational texts, before and after cases, case examples, financing reminders, time-based check-ins. The goal isn't pressure, it's presence, right? So you're reminding patients that, 1, you're still here, 2, solutions still exist, and 3, that options are still available, and timing matters. A patient who wasn't ready 3 months ago may be ready today, right? So why not? So regular communication is key, and it helps build authority. Practices that communicate consistently stay on top of mind. This includes email newsletters, other things you can do, educational content, procedure spotlights, success stories, team updates. When patients hear from you regularly, trust grows passively. Okay? When patients hear from you regularly, trust grows passively. So when they're ready to move forward, you are the obvious choice. Okay? And the last part of all this is the referral systems and having a good referral system that actually work. Referrals don't just happen by accident, right? They happen by design. So a predictable referral system asks at the right moment, makes it easy to refer, rewards behavior without feeling transactional, right? One happy implant or cosmetic patient can easily become a spouse, a coworker, a friend, a family member. And that's how one patient, one lead turns into 5 timing the revenue. So what's the big idea here? Your patients are already in your database. Predictable growth doesn't always mean more ads. It means maximizing who you already have. So retention and reactivation can increase lifetime value, stabilize cash flow, reduce marketing pressure, and improve profitability. And when this is built into your system, your new patient engine runs smoother, longer, and more efficiently. So now let's tie this all together, right? Let's put it all together. Because the new patient engine only works when every single piece is aligned and connected to the next and to the previous, right? So that's the new patient engine, which is a complete framework for attracting high-value patients, pre-qualifying the right people, converting leads consistently, presenting cases with confidence, and retaining and reactivating patients for long-term growth. So it's not about gimmicks. It's not about chasing the latest marketing trend, right? It's still about building a predictable, repeatable system that takes the guesswork out of growth. So when every piece of the engine works together, patient flow stops feeling random and starts feeling intentional. So as a final thought with this, as to the engine, is simply, if you've been relying on word of mouth or feeling like some months are great and others are painfully slow, this is your reminder that growth doesn't have to be unpredictable. Systems create stability. Clarity creates confidence. And the right engine changes everything. Okay? So if you've enjoyed this episode, share with a colleague who could use more consistency, or leave us a review. It helps more dentists find the show. If you want help building your own new patient engine, reach out to us at the Dentist Marketing Media. We'll help you turn marketing to something you can finally rely on. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.